Hello, welcome back to St Michael's Hill for the November update on the layout. Firstly, a massive thank you for everyone who checked out the October update. It's by far my biggest ever video. I think at the time of recording this, which is the middle of November, we're at kind of 800 views or something crazy. So it's just blown me away how well it's gone down. So hopefully the November update will be even more popular. There's certainly a lot more that's been going on in the layout, so there's lots to tell you about. Lots of things that I've been working on, lots of things that I am about to start working on, and some new rolling stock as well. So sit back, grab a cup of tea or something, and let's start off. So I guess first of all, as she's in shot, I'll talk to you about this Bachmann Class 9 shunter. I picked it up second-hand from Hereford Model Shop. I got a really good deal. It was a DC locomotive, so I've hardwired it for DCC, and it's running quite nicely. There's a slight kind of judder one way, so I'm going to give it a proper running in at some point, and maybe look to service it a little bit and see if I can find out what the problem is with that. But generally I'm really happy. It certainly runs very smoothly, even on the track, which probably needs a good clean. It's a pretty smooth runner, and it looks good. So like I said, I'll need to do a quick service on it, and then I'll probably get it weathered up a little bit. It looks far too pristine for a shunter, so a little bit of weathering on it will help it look a lot better. But I'm very happy with it. That, alongside my Class 8, probably going to be enough in terms of shunting, so it's quite nice to have a couple that they can kind of work together in the marshalling yard. So that was a great purchase. I'm very happy with it. The next thing that I picked up was this Hornby Mark 1 composite coach. It's something that I'll probably be using for kind of either rail tours or things like that. It was just, I found it in a second-hand shop, very cheap. I think I spent £8 on it, so I thought I'd pick it up. I needed a few more Mark 1 stock for, like I said, rail tours or things like that I will look to be running, either or just to be stabled in the corner. The other thing I was considering doing with this coach is kind of really beating it up, making it look like it's been kind of basically left to rust. So I might do something like that with it as well. But basically I bought it as a little vehicle that I can use to experiment on, things like that, and if not, I can use it for rail tours. So I'm quite happy with it. It's it's a fairly standard Hornby Mark 1 from quite a few years ago now. It was from their top link range, so at the time it was probably one of the more detailed models that they had, and the detailing is pretty good on it, so I was quite happy with it as a little purchase. And yeah, I'll keep you updated on what I do with it. The next addition to the layout is this EWS LMS inspection saloon. Now this is something that I've wanted for quite a while. I picked it up recently when I was passing rails at Sheffield, and I got it for what was a pretty good price, I thought. It was brand new, and it's a really wonderful coach. I need to still add a little bit of detailing to the front from the detailing kit, and also I will be probably giving it a decent level of weathering as well. It was something that I really wanted to have, just because it means that just with this and a loco I can run a very short terrain, which obviously for St Michael's Hill being 4 foot long as a scenic area, it's very useful to have little trains that we can run, so I'll probably be running that with a Class 37. I'm pretty sure that in a previous video already I've run it with my load haul Class 37. And yeah, it's something I'm very pleased with. I will probably at some point do a full review of this coach, so I don't want to say too much more about it at this stage, and yeah, I'm very pleased with it. The final new addition to the layout this month, and I say final addition, that really is, there's two, because I bought two of these units, are these Hornby KFA intermodal wagons. So again, very, very happy with these. I will probably look over the the months and years ahead to get a full rake to run on other layouts, or if I join a club, or if I for when I start my next layout. But it's just something that I'm really interested in. The intermodal wagons are fascinating to me. I see them quite a lot. I just think there's a really nice scope to kind of run them, and with some really interesting formations, and it can be kind of interesting and colourful trains. So I picked up a few of these. I got them for a really good price in a sale, so I was very happy with those. They interestingly come with some close couplings, so I haven't actually used these yet, but I will at some point have a look at them. I might do a little video around the close couplings that are provided, but again, it's another really nice wagon. The underfloor detailing is very, very good. There's lots of kind of detailing down here, lots of cables and things like that. They're actually quite delicate when you take off the loads. So you can see they're quite intricate. I know Bachmann and Hattons are releasing very similar wagons at the moment, so it's something that I kind of thought I would try out the Hornby one. There was an article in, I think, an old railway modeller, potentially a model rail, where they talked about intermodal wagons, and these were before the Bachmann and new Hattons ones were the ones that everyone suggested as the very best. So I'm very happy with them. And yeah, these obviously as well need a very good weathering, and these KFAs are usually absolutely filthy, so that's something I'm already doing, probably quite heavily. When I've got more of them to do, I will get the rake fully weathered, and we'll go from there. So as well as new locos, I have also been fitting some DCC chips into some of my fleet that I already had. So you might recognise this class 122 from the Meet the Fleet video that I did. So I've now inserted a Zimo MX638D 21 pin decoder into the loco, and I've had I'm having a bit of an issue with it. So if we get the locos turned on, the lighting kind of works as it's supposed to, but I'm having a real issue with the locomotive, or the movement. So once I turn the motor on, you'll hear there's a horrible noise that has only come since I put the chip in. So I've asked some advice on the RM Web forum, and I've been given a few things to try, so I will probably try those over the next few days and see if I can sort a solution out. But as you can hear, it definitely makes a bit of a whining noise, which is a real shame because it runs very, very nicely. So yeah, it's something that does it in both directions. It ran on DC perfectly quietly, so I need to kind of have a look at that. So I'll probably at some point get the body shell off of it and really start to have a look in depth of what might be causing that. There's a few people saying basically make sure that it is the chip that's causing the issue, and if there are a few things to try in the chip itself. So I need to kind of look into that really and how that's going to be done. As well as decoding that, I guess since the last update, I've also put decoders into the load haul V-Trains 37 and the Bachmann Class 08 and the 09 that I showed you earlier. So they are all now available to work on the layout. And I'll get a few running shots with those at the end of this video. In terms of chips as well, I'm mainly using Lens for the DCC Ready locos. I have hard coded this Bachmann Class 9 with a Lens chip, but generally when I've been hard coding before, I've been using Hornbeat chips. And then for my 21 pin decoders, I've, like I said, used this Zemo MX638 chip. So I'll basically test out, see what I like, but that's kind of what I've been recommended at the moment. I seem to be getting on quite well with them. So, well, other than this one at the moment, but I'm not sure that's the chip's fault. It's probably a user error by me at this stage. So I will, yeah, I'll keep using those and see what happens. So with the layout itself, there's been quite a few changes since the last update video. The first of which is quite obvious, as this back scene here. I won't go into too much detail. I did do a whole video around the back scene, so if you didn't see that video, I'll put a link in the corner now. But basically, I've just put a plain sky blue background back scene up, and that's basically been placed into a slot that was left when I was building the baseboard. So it's, in theory, very easy to just take out and use and replace if I need to at any point. It has been suggested that maybe at the bottom here I add a mirror, just so it looks like the back scene goes on and on forever. It seems that what I haven't been doing is cleaning for spiderwebs. There seems to be one there, so maybe the layout needs a bit of a clean. It is probably fairly dusty, but I'll endeavour to do that at some point. The other big thing that also had a video made around it is the yard light here. So if you want to watch that, check out the video. It's on the top of the screen now, and to see how I installed that and tried to blend it in. I think I did a pretty good job, to be honest. One thing that has come up that I'm not happy with really is the shadows on the back scene. So I just need to find a way, probably with some lighting up above here, to basically light down the back so it looks a little bit less shadowy, because obviously you wouldn't usually get a shadow on the sky, so that is something I do need to do. But generally I'm much happier with how the back scene looks, especially at this end where there's no kind of obvious shadows from the lighting. It's really, really nice. It really adds a lot to it. The next area, I suppose, is kind of at this end where I have added a few details around the tunnel. So the warning, the restriction markings on the edge of the tunnel, and I've also added the speed restriction signs to the layout, which is obviously adds a nice little bit of detail, a bit more prototypical, hopefully. I'm not really sure whether to add signs coming into the station and into the yard or not, so that's something that if anyone has any comments or thoughts, let me know in the comments below. That would be really useful. Another thing I have done, I think I mentioned it in a previous video, is to start to build a signal gantry that may or may not replace the signal position here. So I've started to build the gantry it's only at its kind of very basic form at the moment, but effectively it would probably sit there, and I would add the signals to it. It's something that I'm kind of debating on doing, but it certainly needs a lot of work. I basically built the plastic frame. It needs to be tidied up a lot and then primed, and then obviously have the wiring. I've left, well, I've added kind of some passages for the wiring and some holes to allow the wires to come through and then into the baseboard. So it's kind of ready. I've kind of customized the kit a little bit, so it should take the working signals. And then, yeah, we'll see if I end up doing that or not. I probably need to research a little bit more about how problematic the signals are being there. I've only seen one comment to say that it's completely wrong. It might well be that it is, so I will have a look into that. It's something that I probably would quite like to get right. Additionally, I think it adds a little bit of height and interest. What I quite like about this end of the layout now is there's, quite a bit of height around, whereas this end, other than the tunnel mouths, is still quite flat. So it's definitely something I would be interested in doing. I'm going to build the kit as a bit of fun anyway, and we'll see what happens from there. So if I noisily, unfortunately, get rid of this class 122, it will reveal a lot of the other bits that I have been working on this month. So first of all, I've added a lot of detail to I've added some detail to the station. So I've got the mesh metal benches, salt gritters. I've added the platform number signs. See there on each of them, so platform 1 and 2. They're from Sankey Scenics, the platform accessory kit. So I've added those along here. And then into the station area at this end, I've added information boards, a station sign and a little exit sign. I will be adding some additional things in here, so probably a ticket machine. Quite possibly I'll look to add some kind of posters and other bits and pieces. Start to really add some detail to this area, and then obviously add some people and things like that. At this end I need some sort of probably gate or sign just to say that no passengers beyond this point, and I'll add that in, and we'll start to be getting to a point where I'm very, very happy with how this kind of area of the layout is looking, and I need to start to get building some of the bigger projects that are still very much outstanding, and then working on my stock. So I'll go into a few of what those are in a minute, but it's just, yeah, it's nice to get some detail into these scenes now, and it's soon going to be a case of adding some people and things like that to really bring the layout alive. So I've mentioned some bigger projects that I need to start on. The first of these is a control panel, so I'm going to be building a simple control panel that's going to have switches for all the lighting. So currently there's the circuit with the street lights and the yard light on it, the buffer lights, and then the platform lights. There's 3 different circuits there, and then obviously points, then signals have their own switches, and the points as well have their own switches. So I need to build a little control panel with all those and a little map of the layout to make it easily operational. So I suppose the biggest project I need to work on is the fiddle yard. I've mentioned this on a few of my videos, and whether I do get to start it in the next month, I'm not sure. I've got a fair bit going on. I might be moving house in the next few weeks, or it's certainly not in January, and so it might be something that I do at a later date. But I'm certainly starting to think about how it's going to work, what length I need on it. So I'm kind of thinking that it makes perfect sense to have the length of the longest, I guess, longest route up to the signal. So where the class 122 is now is probably slightly further. So I'm thinking probably from here, where it lies now, to the end of the buffer stops. So that would be the full length of the fiddle yard, or at its very maximum. There's no point in having trains in there longer than can reasonably fit on the layout, I would suggest. So I'm probably looking at guessing about 3 foot, maybe. I'll measure that up in a minute and let you know. In fact, I'll put the length on the screen right now. So this is how long my fiddle yard needs to be. And yeah, I'm probably, as it kind of comes across here, I do need to trim off the ends a little bit, and find a way to stick it down properly. So this is the, I guess that's the hidden side of the layout. I need to, first of all, before I add the fiddle yard, trim a little bit of this off. It overhangs slightly, so I need to trim that back. I'll probably screw in some brass screws under here. So I'll probably peel back the underlay, a little bit of the ballast, and then fit some brass screws, solder the track to the screws to make a really strong connection, and then I'll do the same on the fiddle yard side of things. I'm probably going to be looking at, well, I still haven't decided, to be truthfully honest, on a cassette type of arrangement, or if not, basically a full track. But my issue with the full track is I'll probably need to add another foot or at least two, get these two tracks to meet up, or have a Y point in the middle or something like that. So it's probably going to be easier just to straighten these out, and then add a cassette. I think that's probably going to be the easiest and the way that saves the most space, and then I can just basically have probably maybe 5, 6, 7 spaces for cassettes, and slide each one in, and that's probably the easiest way to do it. In the meantime, I will probably also build some sort of framing, so in line with the end of this filiard, I'll probably build it to a similar, not in line with the back scene, build it to a similar height, and then box it off so it's hidden from view. At which point I'll probably put a fascia on the front of the layout, and then just finish it all off nicely with another back scene on the other end. So really keep it off, make it nice, and by the time the control panel will be placed down here, so control panel on the back, and then I'll be good to go really. And then I was asked recently if I was going to exhibit the layout. I mean, I've got no idea, I don't know if it's up to that standard, but I guess maybe I'll see what people think, and if people think that it's the sort of thing that people would like to see, then I'm happy to take it out, but I'm really not sure as a first layout whether it's up to that standard or not. I guess it's not really up to me to decide. We'll see if anything ever comes of it, but I'd certainly be happy to if there was an interest for it. So once that's done, we'll see, and obviously it'll be something that I'll be able to detach, so I'll be able to keep it in 2 sections, and then I'll need to find some sort of legs. At the moment it's obviously sat on 2 chairs, but once we add some legs, it'll be happy days. So that's kind of the biggest project I really need to work on. Then in addition, there are some locos and stock that I need to start adding more decoders to. I currently have, I think, potentially I've got a lens chip that still hasn't gone into anything, and I've certainly got another Zemo 21 pin decoder that I've got earmarked for my Bachmann 47 that you would have seen in the Meet the Fleet video. In addition, I want to start to look at the class 156 DMU. So I have been told by Dave, who runs Diesel and Electric Modelling, that there is a 3D printed kit that might be coming for the underframe at some point. So if that's the case, I certainly want to get this loco ready, up and running, DCC chipped, so once that kit arrives I can install it and have it looking great, because I think the loco is, the DMU is a nice model above the kind of floor. Below the floor it's a bit of a mess. It's very basic, as you can see. It's very kind of crudely moulded, so if we can add a nice underframe and then an obstacle remover at the front, I think that would then really bring it to life on the layout, and it's certainly a unit that I would like to kind of have on the layout. So they're probably the bigger projects, and then I guess it's just a case of, with Christmas coming up, I might get another couple of decoders or a new unit or something. We'll see about that and see if I'm lucky, and that'll be a big one. The other thing I am planning on doing is at this weekend's Wally show, I'm going to the Scale Model Scenes stand, and I'm going to pick up a load of their kits. They do loads of great stuff, loads of little detailing parts. So I've had a look through. I briefly spoke to Justin about what I was going to pick up at the show, so hopefully I'll be able to grab my order there and then come back and add a lot more detailing. So hopefully you'll see that in the December update, and if not, I might even, if there's enough, I might even do a special video on the stuff that I pick up at the show from him. That might be quite nice for people to see. So that's kind of my plan for the next month, I suppose. And yeah, I'm kind of, it's getting to a point where it's becoming a little bit closer to being finished. I know something like this maybe never is totally finished, and there's always going to be a lot of detailing to add, but It's kind of getting to a point where I'm getting more and more happy with it the more the detail goes on. Remember, every Saturday I post a modelling video from St Michael's Hill, so either a how-to or a conversion or something I'm doing, or work on the layout itself. And then if you're interested in real life trains, then try and do it every twice or 3 times a week. I'll add some train spotting videos as well. So if that's what you're interested in, please subscribe. If you like what you see, please hit that subscribe button and the like. Also, we're now on Twitter as well, so I'll put the link to our Twitter account in the description below. Please follow us on Twitter. There's more photos, little video clips and things like that go on there most days, so if you want to see what more I'm up to, then please feel free to do so there. Thank you very much for joining me today on this November update. I will leave you with some running shots, and I will see you again soon. Thanks for stopping by.